Favorable. Budget public hearing at 7:17. Are there any comments from council concerning the tax budget?
Mayor, I'll just kick this off real quick. The tax budget was emailed out to everyone for their review. This is not essentially our operating budget for the year, but it is a tax budget we do have to submit to the county to substantiate our tax levies that we have in place. So this is the work that Kim Downey completed. Pretty much, I won't say it's across the board, but we looked at about a 3% increase on revenues and expenses across the board, which we think is fair at this point. There are some capital expenditures that were incorporated in this, so some of these adjustments may not add up to 3%, but she did use actual information for the upcoming capital budgets. Kim unfortunately could not be here due to a personal matter, but if there are any questions, we'll do our best to answer.
And this is just kind of the annual process, and you have to give him county something.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at the
and
beginning
really-
of July. It has to be at the beginning of July every year. So
Yep.
we have done this every year, and it is just projections on what we kind of expect. Obviously, it needs to be firmed up as we get into our budget season. But she did ask for projections from each of the directors, which have been incorporated.
Yeah, and this budget does not, it's not a comprehensive for all funds within the city. It just has an impact on the general fund, the police pension, and the fire fund.
Any significant deviation from that, we have to justify.
Yeah.
So just on the second to last page, there's this $160,000 figure. What, is that just that portion of that small portion of our budget, or what is that number?
Now you're gonna ask me something I don't know. Where are you at?
Yeah, what
It's
page?
the back page facing, so it's really the second to last page. Go to the back.
Oh,
There's three numbers there, 100,000, 60,000, obviously summing to 160,000. That's,
I think these are amounts that are coming from the local government fund, so there's a county portion and
okay,
city
so just a
portion.
very small portion
Yeah.
of our budget. Understood.
Do we have any comments from the public? We'll show the hearing closed at 7:20.
Very good.
Welcome to the Harrison City Council meeting for July 5th, 2023. If you'd please rise and join us in Pledge of Allegiance. If you please remain standing, I'd like to invite Pastor Austin Mathis with Grace Church to provide the invocation this evening.
All right, let's pray. Father, we come to you first to say thank you. Thank you for your blessings, for the gift of life, for the service of these men and women and their commitment to our city. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful and honorable work. I pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and specifically for this assembled council. I'm asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom amid conflicting interests, a sense of the needs of our city and its citizens, boldness to make decisions, the ability to work together. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Austin. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Egner.
Here.
Mr. Grubbs.
Here.
Mr. Samuels.
Here.
Ms. Dole.
Here.
Mr. Maines.
Here.
Mrs. Wilson.
Here.
First item this evening is approval of the council meeting minutes for July 20th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any corrections or addition? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Yay.
Egner.
Abstain.
Grubbs.
Yay.
Samuels.
Abstain.
Dole.
Yay.
Maines.
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay.
We have two visitors that signed up to speak this evening. The first one is Adam Hagenstein. If you'd like to come up to the podium and speak, is he here?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Adam Hagenstein.
Hagenstein.
I'm a resident here in Harrison. I live in Whitewater Trails community on Whitewater Trails Boulevard. I'll keep it brief. I'll keep it simple. I'm a very no-nonsense, straight-to-the-point kind of person. Mr. Mayor, you and I, we've had a conversation about this topic. I've had a conversation with Jim Leslie as well. First and foremost, I want to apologize to you and to Jim, if he's watching, if he's here, I'm not sure.
He's back there.
Jim, hi. I apologize for the way I may have acted on the phone or in any of that way. My children's safety, my neighbor's children's safety is a very passionate thing for me, as I'm sure for a lot of you it is as well. The reason I was in communication with these two gentlemen was that there's a lot of commercial traffic going through our neighborhood, going to the new development at the end of Whitewater Trails Boulevard. Myself and several other neighbors have called the police, have called the mayor, have called Jim with regards to this. It's a big safety concern, having these major trucks coming down our street, even at low speeds. I don't know the details of recent incidents here lately, but I've heard of several other incidents with dump trucks on public streets, so I think safety is a concern with all this construction. One little tidbit, if you will, it takes a tri-axle dump truck on average 400 feet to come to a complete stop. Think about that in a residential community. If a child's out there in the street playing, kicks a ball out there, the truck driver can't see behind that car, and out pops his kid. Innocent play in our safe street, and that's what I'm asking you all to consider some sort of way to eliminate that commercial traffic from our street. We've all seen the no through trucks, no commercial trucks, that sort of thing going through there. And I know that I spoke with Jim, I spoke with you, Mr. Mayor, about this, about how the developer's supposed to be building a separate access point coming from Edgewood. I asked that you possibly encourage them, strongly ask them to stop commercial traffic through our residential street until that street is done, going their access, just for sheer safety aspect. But that's kind of it.
I don't know if you've looked at that access point lately, but I've been told that there's now fence posts and construction, orange fencing across that entrance. We've had multiple since the beginning of the project conversations with the developer on site and the developer that's not located locally, they're not on site,
Right.
about the safety issues that have been presented to us. And we've stressed, we've had the police out there, we've had Jim Leslie out there, we've different people at different times having interaction. You may see an occasional truck to bring fuel to that site, use that road, but it should be rare and not very often. He's coming out to fill the big tank up that they're gonna fill their smaller construction, the bulldozers and stuff out of that. But otherwise, they primarily be using the Edgewood Road entrance now. We knew it was gonna be short-lived. We knew it was not gonna be very well-received. But we had conversations before they started construction with the contractors, with the developers, to try to mitigate this to the best we could up front. As I discussed with you during our conversation, controlling individual people's behavior is very difficult. We can only encourage behavior through police presence, conversations with their bosses and things like that. Fortunately, we reached this point with no major incident, maybe some
Thankfully.
people that were not happy. But we did everything we could to respond to you guys as best we could. The same day, hours after me and you had our conversation, I sent an email out to the developers saying, had another complaint, we need to start working on this, speed it up. Speed up the process of getting your access from Edgewood Road. I talked to Jim. Jim's had multiple conversations. I'm sure every time we get these phone calls, that's going on. But thank goodness for everybody that was concerned. We've reached an end point, and there may be a very, very rare occurrence of a truck coming down that street, but I would say the vast, overwhelming majority should now be coming in off Edgewood Road.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. One question, if I may. Is this just for Siteworks, the developer, or for when the
So when-
actual builder comes through? Are they going to start using
So when the
trails?
builders start building homes and putting foundations in, the roadway will be in from Edgewood Road. There'll be
Okay.
Usually they have either a gravel or a base course down that they drive on, and then
Okay.
they'll bring everything in that way. They should not be coming through the residential portion of that, but at some point,
Okay.
after they're done doing construction of homes, that road will be open for through traffic both ways.
Residential traffic, yes. I
So if
appreciate
you're going to
that.
Butler County, you can go out the back. If somebody in there is going to go out to Crosby Township, they might come out through your subdivision.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you again. I appreciate all of you, everything you guys are doing. Thank you.
We had one other person, Erica and Krista Sills, S-I-L-Z. Would you like to speak, or are they present? Okay. Do you have something you'd like to speak about?
I was speaking about Whitewater Trails. I'm also a resident of Whitewater Trails. I live on Whitewater Trails Boulevard.
I'm sorry, your name?
Catherine Davis. I will not belabor the point of we don't want the construction traffic. I'm also extremely concerned about linking that neighborhood with the new community.
I couldn't hear that.
I am extremely concerned about linking Whitewater Trail Boulevard all the way into that new community. We have too many people on the street going way too fast. There's too many Amazon drivers, FedEx drivers. You can't stop people from ordering. And there's no one coming out. I see very few police ticketing people on our subdivision. I live 5 houses down from the entrance. There are way too many speeding cars. And we have way too many children, way too many dogs, everybody
So-
out in the streets.
Our police department's very responsive, so anytime you have issues with speeders or those types of issues, don't call 911, call our non-emergency number and let them know, and they'll have a greater presence, and if there's activities observed that are illegal, there's either a warning or a citation, whichever is merited will be issued. I think the speed trailer was put out a few days after you talked to me, to make sure people were aware of how fast they were going. We have a lot of different tools we can use. Citations, I can tell you a story. When I was on council years ago, a former council member complained about speeding on the street. his wife got the first citation. Unfortunate, but it happens. So people, oftentimes, they don't pay attention in their own neighborhood. But sometimes people coming into a neighborhood don't pay attention because it's not where they live, or they don't have kids, or don't think about that. So if you ever have those concerns, please relay that information through our non-emergency number so that we're aware of it. If you call me, then I've got to make a second phone call. But if you call directly to the police department,
So there's no way to stop the linking.
so, what?
We cannot stop the linkage.
No, that was, that's been planned since your subdivision was developed. That interconnection, so if you look at the end of the street there, it was like just a straight across street. There wasn't a cul-de-sac put in. So the plan has been from when your subdivision was developed for that to go through into the development north of it.
Okay. Really hope we don't have any children get hit, because we already had a dog get hit in our neighborhood from people
Well,
speeding.
I
I know you can't
share that
control other
concern.
people's.
I live on a street that's probably busier than any street in your neighborhood, and probably has a higher rate of speeding than your neighborhood. There's a stop sign, one house on either side of me, and my kids are in their late 20s and 30s, and we moved in when they were 4 and 5. And we managed to get through that whole time frame with no incidences like that. So hopefully we see the same results. I mean, I can't think of the last time we've had a very negative impact like that in the city. And sometimes it's parental supervision, sometimes it's driver awareness. Cell phones have definitely created a lower awareness by drivers. I see people drive all the time. This is in their hand, and they got it just below where anybody can see it unless you're next to them. And they're looking over here and the road's that way. Very unfortunate.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else that'd like to speak this evening? Okay, so
Appointments.
your name and
Debbie Hillner, Whitewater Trails. Just so I can sleep at night, I just want to clarify, you said that when they construct the homes, they will not use our street?
They should not be using your street. They should be accessing off of Edgewood Road during
Thank you.
construction of homes.
Thank you. I just want to make sure, because my 19-year-old is more like a 10-year-old, and once he is impulsive and he goes down the driveway, and I think you remember the boys, you have the red Miata?
Yeah.
Yeah, they saw your car. Anyway, he just darts in the street, and as much as I can try to be present, I can't always. So just knowing, I can sleep at night,
So-
not knowing that he might dart in the street and a dump truck would, or another construction vehicle would hit him.
The plan is that during construction of the homes, that they'll bring the trucks and the vehicles in off of Edgewood Road, because the road should have the base down and, you know, the utilities are being laid, so
I thank you very much, and thank you for listening to our concerns. Thank you.
you're welcome. Anybody else that would like to speak this evening? Okay, we will move into the business portion of the meeting. Our first item tonight is to vote on setting a public work session to discuss the fire levy and the withholding tax credit.
Mayor, I would like to ask council if they would be available on Tuesday, July 25th at 5:30 PM to continue our discussion regarding the fire levy and withholding tax credit.
What time would you like to meet?
5:30.
5:30.
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right,
I cannot make that evening,
okay,
the 25th.
all right. Are you okay with us having the meeting, or would you like it rescheduled?
You can have it without me.
Okay,
I can't make that night,
okay, all right.
Do we,
at least on my schedule right now. So 50-50 chance I may be here as well.
so is that a motion at this time?
Yes, I'd like to make an motion.
Okay, do we have?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Egner has a second. Roll call, please.
Egner,
Yeah.
Grubbs,
Yay.
Samuels,
Yay.
Dole,
Yay.
Maines,
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay.
Mr. Wilson.
You'll be able to get that published.
Does that need to be it's just a work session?
We just need to notice it, so can you have it put up on the website? Yeah, okay.
Okay. Let Joe, you or Joe? Okay.
He has another day or two.
I'll send it to everyone.
Okay, our next item is a vote on a resolution adopting the annual tax budget for the year 2024 for the city of Harrison and submitting the same budget to the county auditor. This is the budget we spoke about during the public hearing.
Motion to approve?
Wilson, seconds.
I doubt there's any conversation to be had. Roll call, please.
Grubbs.
Yay.
Samuels.
Yay.
Dole.
Yay.
Maines.
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay.
Mr. Wilson.
Yay.
Egner.
Yeah.
That is Resolution 8 of 23.
So our next vote is on a resolution approving an application for tax exemption within a community reinvestment area for parcel 561-0015-0142-00 and 561-0015-026800 for Hearth Brew. Shannon has a short presentation on this prior to.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Members of council, I had a few weeks ago sent you a spreadsheet demonstrating the incentive values and so forth, but Hearth Brewery is a new venture. The company, and I'll soon introduce one of the principals here, but they are going into the old Burwinkle building, spelled with a U-R, Burwinkle. The company has purchased, I'm not sure they've closed yet, but they will be purchasing or have purchased the building for more than $500,000. They plan on making improvements of more than $1 million. The resolution that you have is recommending a 15-year incentive on the structure's new improvements only, not on the existing taxes that are being paid on the structure or the land. So just the increase, of course, the land taxes, if they increase, are not abated. Land taxes are never abated in Ohio. The city's portion of that abatement is about $4,500 annually. The company plans at a minimum to employ at least 20 people, maybe up to 30 as they get going. So the remaining taxes and the new payroll together will generate about $5,600 annually to the city. And of course, nothing has been happening in this building. Well, I've been here for 7 years, and I've been working on this for 7 years. As you know, we thought we had Culver's lined up. For whatever reason, internally, they decided not to proceed this, and we went back. We had actually talked to two breweries before Culver's came. Neither of those materialized, and then we got together with these folks to see if they'd like to come, and they said yes, and they proceeded very quickly after Culver's backed out. So I'm going to introduce Greg Otis. He's one of the principals of the company, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about what they're planning to do.
Thank you, Shannon. My name is Greg Otis, O-T-I-S. Mr. Mayor, members of council, and staff present tonight. We're very pleased to be with you and happy to answer any questions you have. I just want to make a couple of brief statements about what we think is available to us by way of the Burwinkle property. First of all, I'd like to introduce my wife, Angela, partner in crime. She's the one who says, go ahead and invest, right? And then my partner and son in this venture, Corey Otis, will also be the brewer. Has been to brew school and has had a passion for this for some time. My profession over the last 35 years plus has been architecture. I've had the pleasure over the years to work on very transformative architecture in Cincinnati market, the Aronoff Center, Great American Ballpark, just recently the FC Stadium. Very transformative, once in a generation opportunities, and we think this is a once in a generation opportunity and the heart of Harrison to take what has been a landmark building, otherwise fallow for many years, and turn it into something I think very special. We see this business opportunity based on a couple of really strong fundamentals. One is the building has great bones. We don't anticipate keeping all of that building in place. As you can see, this particular rendering says that maybe much of it will be, and the front porch that faces the main entrance off of Stone Drive will remain intact. We want that to be a feature of the building for some outdoor seating, albeit within a new railing line. The building will be, completely redone in terms of its its current presence. The features that are really important to us are certainly the dormers, the porch, and of course the stone fireplace that gives it its name of Hearth Brewing will be central to what will be the tap room. The tap room or the serving room will be the main Burwinkle space as you know it, albeit without as much mezzanine as it currently has, if anybody's been inside that building. As you can see beyond on the right, the greenhouse building will be retained for a three-season space. And a building will take the place of what is now the roof structure. The addition to the rear of the building will be raised, and in its place we'll build a new metal building, a new pre-engineered metal building that will house the brewing brew house equipment. The site obviously will be addressed in terms of its conditions, new site lighting and the like. In terms of our timing, we anticipate closing by the end of August. Right now is our anticipated time frame. We've given ourselves 6 months of construction. We think that our contractors believe, as they look at our schedule and the scope of work, believe that they can improve that, but we're holding that out as what we believe to be necessary. So September through February. We're hoping by way of a temporary certificate of occupancy to get the brew house commissioned and up and running so that we can make sure that we're building a good cellar stock of beer before we open. We anticipate rolling openings next spring and certainly to be open full-time for business by the Memorial Weekend to kick off the summer. As you can see in the floor plan, the building on the right is the existing Burwinkle building, and we will be taking on the Harbor Freight side and the Frisch's side of the building, taking some of the space that is otherwise under porch now and extending the footprint of the existing building for purposes of making sure that there's ample sufficient space for a kitchen and restroom facilities to run it. And then the building on the right that you can see in the plan, which is shaded, is the new brew house building. Happy to answer any questions you have and let you be about your business.
I noticed the covered patio in the back, which is currently the greenhouse section. Will you be putting glass panes in that?
Yeah, we anticipate
taking out the
completely stripping that portion of the building back to its original structure, which is a beautiful bowed arch thing, putting a solid roof on, and then a combination of panels on the side that allow daylight and airflow in there. That space will also be heated to allow for extending the use of that in the fall and spring.
I'm sorry, I should have started with
the
a good wheat. Let's go with a good wheat. And then
Yes,
I
sir.
wanted to ask about the paneling. So I didn't want to just make it about the paneling or the wheat beer, so.
Yeah, that yellowing panel, the green roof, those are going to be replaced.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, sir.
silly question probably, but in today's society, the way we have mental midgets that are deciding to drive through places and stuff like that, do you foresee any type of protection around that building because it's all accessible by any number of vehicles? Do you see any type of protection for your guests and business?
I appreciate that. So right now, the connection between the anchor property and the curb cut that services this particular property off of Stone Drive, we anticipate terminating access in any way from the main parking lot of Harrison, I've forgotten the name of it all of a sudden, Harrison Square, into our property, so that we're only maintaining access off of Stone Drive and then the connector drive that goes back into the development behind the property. The rest of it will be secured in the perimeter. Obviously, new security systems, and that will take care of our ability to see what's happening on the property 24/7.
But it will be curbed and then green space will be added?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
No question, but this is exciting.
We believe so as well. We really appreciate the opportunity. We want to be part of this community. Look forward to working for many years together.
Well, welcome to Harrison.
Thank you very much, and I'd also like to thank Shannon for his guidance and counsel in these early stages, and really sorry to see that he's leaving the city.
Go to.
Okay, so we've heard the presentation. Do we have a motion on the item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Samuels.
Yay.
Dole.
Yay.
Maines.
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay.
Mr. Wilson.
Yay.
Egner.
Yay.
Grubbs.
Yay.
That's resolution 9 of 23.
Next item is vote on an ordinance amending the amount appropriated to various funds of the city of Harrison, Ohio.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion or explanations?
Yeah, Mayor, I do want to cover this. This is actually quite a sizable appropriations coming through, so I did want to address it. We have a couple of big chunks coming through. We have two items, one for $154,000 and one for $55,000. Those are related to the health insurance changes that we are making as of July 1st. $55,000 relates to the increase in the premiums. $154,000 is actually for the HSA contributions that the city is making on the behalf of the employees. Now, there is a structure along with that. There's a requirement for matching contributions that go along with it, but this is encompassing what could possibly be the city's portion. There's also a couple other items related to construction projects that we will receive reimbursement on, totaling about $531,000 for the Park Avenue and Campbell Road projects, also the Harrison Avenue repaving project. Those are just projects that are being covered for the most part. We just have to pay for them, and then we will get reimbursement on those. So since we're paying for them, we do have to appropriate the monies. We do have the Lexipol training and policy management system for the fire department and police department. They're totaling and they're splitting that cost of a total of about $56,000. Another piece of that in here is $270,000 for the Meridian barriers. Those are barrier systems that can be used during street closures, whether it be for events downtown, possibly street department, but it does provide a protective barrier for the employees and or the residents that are participating in the events. The last item on here is something that's been discussed in utilities, but it's just the cost of a storm sewer project down on Jefferson Avenue. So,
Is the
it's,
is the 270 just for the first round of those barriers, or is that for everything?
that is for everything, that's my understanding.
For 2 blocks. 2 blocks.
Yes, that's.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay, roll call, please.
Dole.
Yay.
Maines.
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay.
Mr. Wilson.
Yay.
Egner.
Yay.
Grubbs.
Yay.
Samuels.
Yay.
That's ordinance 8 of 23.
Are there any items to add to this evening's agenda? Okay, we will move into the reports. For my report, I'd like to start with the Mayor's Fund Golf Outing will be August 11th at Sugar Ridge Golf Club on State Line Road. We are seeking foursomes to participate. We have maybe half a dozen signed up. We have room for up to 20. So if you'd like to golf and you'd like to support the Mayor's Fund, reach out to me. You can call down here and get my cell phone number, or you can go on the website and get my email, get in contact with me. I can get you the information you need to sign up. If you don't like to golf, but you'd like to help in another way, we have all different levels of sponsorship, from golf cart sponsor, drink cart sponsor, pole sponsors, all different levels of non-golfing sponsorship also. And then I'd like to thank Shannon for his 7+ years of service to the city. Put me kind of in a tight spot. It's going to be hard to replace him, but you know, family calls. He's moving closer to his family. I can't say anything negative about somebody wanting to be closer to their family. So it was a great 7+ years, Shannon. Just too short. So thank you. That concludes my report for this evening. The law director is not here this evening. He was excused. Mr. Wilson, do you have a report?
The only report I have, Mr. Mayor, is thank you, Jim, for getting those restriction of the parking on Broadway taken care of, so there's no more restrictions down there because of the school. Also, I want to thank Kim Sovereign and the entire Recreation Commission for the 4th of July festivities. They did an outstanding job. It was extremely well attended and everything down there, and I think they do a wonderful job. And I apologize for the American Legion not donating money today. We normally donate every meeting, but mail didn't go the 4th of July, so I'm using that as the excuse. And Shannon, also congratulations and thank you for your service to this city.
Mr. Egner, do you have a report?
I just want to echo what you said and what Jerry just said, and thank Shannon for his service to the city. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Grubbs, do you have a report?
A couple items, Mayor. Thank you. First, we did have a utilities meeting tonight. The wastewater plant is in need of a new roof, and we do have 3 companies bidding on that. We're waiting for the final bids to come in, but they're looking anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000 on that. And then we also do have a budget item, approved budget item for a conveyor system to help down our wastewater plant that is currently out for bid. And they're making some tweaks to make sure that it's appropriate for our setup down there. So we're waiting on that, but that's expected to be around $325,000. Edgewood Sewer looks to be starting here in August. So if you travel Edgewood Road frequently from Boffman towards Butler County, that project is going to be starting here in August. We have addressed the truck situation through the neighborhood. And then well 3, we're waiting for the EPA for the final approval to get moving on that project. We did also have a RETA committee meeting. I've discussed this in a couple meetings prior to this evening, but it's pretty much been determined that the cost of bringing our tax back in-house is just too much and would be too much of a burden on the finances for the city. It hasn't come to a final head or anything, but for the most part, that's the way it's looking, just because it's going to be about triple the cost of what we pay RETA to handle our services. But we did have Angela from RETA stop out. She's our local liaison, answered a lot of questions, especially around customer service. She does have some questions to take back and work on and come back to us around the online portal and just some of the questions that we brought up to her. So she probably will be revisiting us here soon. But it was a very helpful session to be able to have that representative here talking to us, answering our questions. Just some of the points that she brought up that RETA has rolled out that really seem kind of like a pain point for a lot of people. This year they've rolled out a fast pay system that you don't have to log in. You don't have to remember your password from a year ago. You can just log in and do a fast pay if you have a payment that you need to make, as well as a quick tax calc tool to help you estimate what your taxes could be to help you better plan for April when you end up having to pony up and write the checks. So they are trying to take measures to create efficiencies and be available. One of the items, I want to go back to customer service because I think setting proper expectations for people is important. If you end up emailing RETA, they estimate that it will be 24 to 48 hours. So I'm going with 48 hours that you should receive a response. If you do not receive a response and you have problems getting through to RETA, reach out to one of us up here or the finance director, who is our tax commissioner here at the city, and we will find resolution for you. We have found that in the past couple years, RETA has really gotten better. Their complaints have dropped considerably, but that doesn't mean that there won't be a day where there's a problem. We just want to make sure that we address it properly. And having a good resource is important. And I have her name and phone number, so.
So call Ryan.
Yeah. I also want to, real quick, thank the Rec Commission. Absolutely magnificent job. Great organization for the parade. They had everything set up wonderful. Kim and her team did a fabulous job. The fireworks, absolutely everything. For the most part, there were a couple events, or a couple unplanned events. Thank you, Mayor. Unplanned events, but they were handled appropriately, and it was a magnificent display, and my grandson loved every minute of it. So thank you to their team. And then Shannon, you know, from the first interviews clear through to now, it has been absolutely wonderful. I thank you for your openness and your honesty and your hard work and everything that you've committed to the city and the community. Greatly appreciate it, and we obviously wish you the best. So thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Samuels, your report this evening?
Yes, I do, Mayor. The Finance Committee met on June 27th. As always, we did do a review of the revenues and expenses. The revenues do seem to be in line with budget. Obviously, we've talked about it before. I've talked about it before. You know, we are seeing a little bit of an increase on the interest income due to the investments of our cash balance. So that it's always a plus to have that extra revenue coming in. It's not something that is going to be long-term. We're just benefiting right now from the high interest rates. So we'll take it. The expenses still seem to be in line with budget. Our only concern, and I said this last month, is just monitoring the water operating fund. You know, one of the things that Kim is working on is providing a 5-year forecast. So, you know, in that forecast on our first round, it is showing a negative fund balance, you know, within the next couple of years. So we're taking a look at that to figure out, you know, if there's an issue, you know, do we need to complete a rate study, possibly a structure change with the rates. So that is ongoing, but it is just an item that we are watching as we go throughout the year. The 2022 audit still in process, should be completed within the next week or two. We talked about the tax budget for 2024, which we voted on tonight. Financial forecasting, like I said, we did receive the water and wastewater forecast. Those are currently under review, so we've got a couple different funds that we've received them on. So we're able to hopefully put together a comprehensive view of what the financial forecast is going to look like. The budget amendments review, we went over that during Finance Committee. You know, we kind of talked about what the items were. But, you know, the one thing I do want to say is, you know, from here on out, we had some big ticket items come through. Some of these things that came through in regards to health insurance, there really wasn't, you know, another option out there. You know, the meridian barriers, we all obviously felt that it was important for us to have those. But from here on out, I mean, we do have to be mindful. You know, we do have one more project that we think will be coming before us regarding the water. And, you know, from here on out, we do have to be mindful on the expense side. So we're going to take a harder look at these things to make sure we stay in line with our budget. The time and labor management system, the scheduling model did go live this week. So hopefully all is going well. I haven't received an update on that. The sweep account for our bank accounts has been completed, and that money is earning interest. On the personnel side, one thing that Kim brought to the Finance Committee, not that I don't think she needed our approval, but she is taking Shannon's IT responsibilities and moving them over to Sarah. So she will be taking on the IT piece that Shannon was taking care of. From that, we did have a brief discussion on the fire levy just to get the next meeting scheduled. Our next Finance Committee will be, I have it here July 28th, but I don't think that's right. I think it's July 25th.
It'd be Tuesday.
That'd be Tuesday the 25th. All right, so it is July 25th at 4:30, and then we will have our work session after that at 5:30. Our next police committee meeting will be July. Now I'm gonna mess this up. I had it all based off these dates. Will be. What's that? 18th. It'll be July 18th. See, I can't even keep the dates right. So good thing I'm a lot better with numbers rather than dates. So that'll be at 6 p.m. I do want to wish Shannon well. I thank you for your service. You know, so we've already talked about it, but you're definitely going to be missed, and we appreciate the efforts you made over the years. And My last item, Mayor, is that I would like to ask for an executive session from the Ohio, pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22G1, to discuss the compensation of a public employee.
Nope, we're over here.
Anybody else want to go into exec session?
I got
Yeah,
a second.
Oh, we have a second, so roll call.
Maines.
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay.
Mr. Wilson.
Yeah.
Agner.
Yeah.
Groves.
Yay.
Samuels.
Yay.
Dole.
Yay.
So when reports are finalized, we'll retire to executive session. Ms. Stoll, do you have reports this evening?
Yes, Mayor, I do. We had a tree board meeting on June 27th. We got an email from Gordon that Kroger's is going to take out their dead trees on the property and in the parking lot medians and replace them. So we gave some recommendations on that. We also asked for a city map so that we could work on numbering trees on city property for pruning and maintenance. And then lastly, the Cincinnati test system plans were resubmitted with the changes that we suggested, so those were approved. We had a social media meeting this morning at the Coffee Peddler. Our next Community Connect newsletter went out. Just a reminder that you can sign up on our website to get those electronically via email. You can also sign up to get other alerts and updates, so if there's any event cancellations or anything like that that happens, you can get them in a timely manner. If you have any questions about energy aggregation, you can go to our website, which is www.harrisonohio.gov, and Ohio is spelled out, all 4 letters, and search for aggregation, and it should pop up with contact info and phone numbers of people who can answer your questions. We're also working on a style guide Sarah's putting together for us for publications by the city so that we can have consistent wording with the way that we address people and consistent logos and colors and things like that. So that will be coming to council whenever they're completed with that. For IT, the speakers downtown have been installed. There was a hiccup. It looks like there was damage to an underground pipe on Walnut, preventing the completion of the project. So Jim's going to work with them on a solution for that, and hopefully they'll get those finished up pretty soon. And then next up for that project are the conference rooms, so hopefully that will be like in a couple of weeks. Our next district meeting is July 13th at 7 p.m. via Zoom, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Maines, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do a couple of reports. First is the economic development report. This will be Shannon's last report, last economic development meeting we held this evening. And again, as all the other council members have reiterated, we appreciate your service. You're going to be missed, and may you not have any council meetings with executive sessions that go past midnight in your future, as you've stories we were shared in Economic Development Committee meeting this evening. Thank goodness we're not in Texas. As we had, Hearth Brewery came in and talked about their plans. They will be at the next Planning Commission meeting working on their conditional use approval for building the brewery at the site of the old Burwinkles building. We talked about the earthwork and the movement beginning in the Drees home site near north of Whitewater Trails. This has homes beginning later this fall, and we will make sure that they enter in off of Edgewood Road to do that construction and not travel through the Whitewater Trails subdivision. They have agreed to name a street Meckesheim Way in honor of our sister city relationship, and we'll have a ceremony this September when our guests from Meckesheim are here in Harrison. That said, the Economic Development Committee is very busy working on the schedule of activities for the Meckesheim, Germany visitors in September. That schedule will be shared with council by the end of this week. The highlight of the event, the formal singing of the formal signing, not singing, signing. We're going to bring Shannon back to do the singing. The signing of the sister city relationship. Yeah, and me as well. My son, not so much. They like to hear him sing, me, not so much. That will coincide with the September 9th Taste of Harrison Festival and in the downtown. And the district is working to make the event special with several German-oriented events and attractions. Special beer will be brewed by the Northern Row Brewery in Cincinnati, especially for the occasion. Northern Row will continue to make the beer after the event, as will our brewery in Meckesheim. In addition, the city's covering hotel costs for visitors. JTM has agreed to donate $10,000 towards that cost. The chamber, $2,500. Crown Plastics, another $2,500, all to help with costs associated with the week-long visit. Cronin Ford will be donating a vehicle to help transport our guests. And so we're excited. Got big plans for that week in September. I would encourage you to mark your calendars for that and be prepared for that. Sad news here, but Velvet Smoke is not coming back. But the good news is that Jersey Mike's has submitted plans to fill the former space where Velvet Smoke was at on New Haven Road, next door to the BP gas station. Papa John's is coming back to Harrison, and they're going to be in the location where Make Me a Pizza was located in the O'Charlie Shopping Center. And the old Sipsey Klein real estate agency next to Chandler's is going to be replaced with a quilt shop. So it's exciting to see. It's sad to see businesses leave, but it's exciting that other businesses are coming to fill those spaces. Valley House is targeting the fall football season. Yes, we're going to work on Paul there and kind of hold him to it this time, right? Valley House has been a long time coming, right? Even before I was on council, we were talking about Valley House. So, no, they're electrical panel, right? And they've got all the other equipment. So, yeah, they're working hard on it, going gangbusters, as Shannon said, so they don't have any excuses. So, looking forward to that. And you know, they also own Tuco's Tacos, and they're doing so well there. They got to get their Valley House open. I think they understand that well. So, and we appreciate. I mean, the 301 Harrison Avenue was very close to being a total loss, and they brought that building back from the dead, and it looks very nice. And they have residents living upstairs in the building. So we very much appreciate. All kidding aside, we're very much appreciative of Paul Freese and his Valley House and what they're going to bring to the city. Question I have here, Shannon, you have the next Economic Development Committee meeting as Tuesday, July the 18th. That would probably not be true. It would be August 1st. August 1st, and
Ooh, it's a good thing
you
you're
made
leaving.
all three of them in the last week of yours. All three of your total mistakes in the last 7 of your
Good
7+
thing he's
years.
leaving. We have to
the
dock
last
him.
week. Yeah. Well, he's got mind on other things like grandchildren, moving close to them, so it's understood. And any comments or questions, that'll go to Mayor Nair and Gordon Wong as we are actively seeking a replacement for the Economic Development Committee. You can apply for that position. It is open out on, imagine they can find that out on our website, right, to apply for the.
It's on LinkedIn also.
All linked,
Yeah.
on linked as well. I shared your LinkedIn
Indeed.
post.
Indeed.
So if you're looking to be, who would not want to be the Economic Development Committee? Economic Development Chair.
Ordinary.
Director.
Director. Let me get the
Director.
position right. Yeah.
You are the
My
chair.
first mistake of the night, right? Economic Development Director for the city of Harrison. We would love to have you if you have the proper qualifications. The second meeting that I chaired this evening was the Streets Committee. The last finishing touches are being done on Park Avenue. They've got, I drove by it tonight, and Jim told me this, and I saw it. They are getting these crosswalks marked at the intersections, Vine Street on West on Park Avenue, so Vine Street, Sycamore, Walnut Street. They're getting the crosswalks finished up on Park Avenue. Everything else is finished. Yeah, I would encourage you, if you live on that street, to water your grass that they've planted, so that comes up nice and green, and pull the weeds that come up inevitably. I'm doing that. I would encourage other residents on Park Avenue to do the same. And then Harrison Avenue, Stone to West, they're getting ready to stripe that. And then on July the 18th, Mr. Leslie, Jim Leslie, is going to have a meeting with Jurgensen and JMA about the paving from New Haven to Stone Road and getting that project underway so we can get that section of Harrison Avenue from rough to nice and smooth and repaved. And then, of course, that'll be striped. We are waiting on lights at the Stone Road interchange, and they're saying December. Is that correct? So I think that was the biggest summary, and we'll have our Streets Committee meeting, of course, on August 1st. Economic Development, it's at 5:45, and Streets is at 6:15. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have. I think I went a little long, apologize. Be brief.
Mrs. Wilson, do you have a report this evening?
Yes, Mayor, I do. Thank you. First of all, I would like to echo everyone's sentiments up here about the recreations job that they did on the 4th of July yesterday. Kim and all the people that are on rec and all the volunteers that they had, they did a wonderful, wonderful job. They had, the parade had 40 floats, several businesses, organizations, school groups. The parade was led by the MVets, the VFW, and the American Legion Post 199. Our Grand Marshal was a former city councilman and former mayor, Mr. Archie Mason, and he was driven by Mike Herlanger. And the parade closed with the monster truck from Car Country. The float awards, the Grand Marshal Choice Award, which Archie Mason picked since he was the Grand Marshal, and that was Grubs for Harrison. Mayor's Choice was the Little Fern, and Recreation's Choice was Car Country. We had games. Our games were ran by Life Springs Church. Master Blasters Jelly Ball Entertainment is a new business in Harrison. Andrea Bryant had crafts. We had face painters, balloon, and character artists. We had they had a cornhole tournament with 32 teams. The winner was a father-son team, Steve and Greg. We'd like to thank Harrison Junior Baseball for loaning us their cornhole boards. They had several food options. They had the American Legion Color Guard had hot dogs and that type of thing. The American Legion SAL had beer. The Rotary Club had burgers and fries. Harrison Center for the Arts had cotton candy. We had La Rosa's. We had Lindsay's Shaved Ice and Swole Foods. I guess that was a food truck. Yes. The entertainment was the Procter & Gamble Big Band and Hi-Fi Honey. Fireworks were Arthur Rossi. Rec had some sponsors of Mercy Health, West Hospital, and Franklin County National Bank. We have some upcoming events. On July the 18th is our next concert here at the Community Center. The entertainment will be Blackbone Cat. August the 1st is the Naked Karate Girls, and August the 12th will be the car show. This week I have fielded several phone calls about the military banners that are in the downtown in the business district. We know that Kim Williams started this program a few years ago, and then she decided she didn't want to be involved anymore, and she told me that the sign company was going to handle everything, so I took it as that. When I started getting these phone calls, I circled back to the sign company, and she didn't know she was supposed to be in charge. So I said, well, don't worry, we'll work this out. So the American Legion, I took this to the American Legion, and the American Legion was very generous, and they're helping sponsor the banners again this year. And we have applications. They're on our website. They're on Facebook. It is a first come, first served basis. The banners are $40, and they'll be put up around Veterans Day. So we have a little form that you fill out, and you can mail it in or drop off your application, and she needs the money to go with it with a high-quality photo. So any other further information, ask me or get on the website and pull down an application. And some people have asked me that they currently have loved ones up there and they'd like to stay up there again. I said it would all depend how many applications we got, because I feel like if someone hasn't already been up there, their family member hasn't been up there, then they should come first, and someone who's already up there would have to wait another turn. So the lady didn't much like what I said to her, but she said, "You don't understand, that's my husband up there." And I said, "Yeah, I do understand, but we got to try to give everybody the opportunity."
Hey, Gene, if there's a banner up there and somebody wants to get that banner, what do they need to do?
Well, who put the banners up and who takes them down is the street department. So we're going to try to keep them up until Veterans Day, when we put, or around Veterans Day when we put the new ones up. But if someone wants theirs before then, I would have to tell them they'd have to contact Mr. Leslie, because I'm not in charge of telling the street department what to do and not do. That ain't gonna go over. So I would like to say that on Mr. Shannon leaving, before I ever came on council, I knew Shannon a little bit, but I got to know him better, being on council and working with him, and it's been a real honor and pleasure to work with you, Shannon. You've always been helpful to anyone who's ever come to you, and you've always tried to find a solution to our problems. We're gonna miss you, but we also understand.
At this time, we'll resign to executive session. Thank you.